Part 64. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 641. Chapter 626, Su Junming lives in Baokong Mountain, Part 1. Junior brother, among the second-generation disciples of Chongshan, we seem to be the weakest. Shang Taijin looked around for a moment and then said. Most of the third-generation disciples are better than us. Pan Luo told a fact that made the two of them ashamed. If we had practiced Taoism for the same length of time, I would have advanced to the immortal realm long ago, Shang Taijin said in a complicated tone. No matter how many reasons there are, they can't cover up the result that our cultivation is not as good as others, Pan now said after a pause. When I go back this time, I will immediately ask the master to go into seclusion. If I don't become a fairyland, I will never leave the seclusion. Shang Taijin nodded in agreement. It was so embarrassing that he couldn't even compare to the junior disciples. Su Junming was sitting in the center seat and saw everyone whispering among each other but did not stop him. Seeing how bad they are and how strong others are will save them a lot of time, and they will develop a sense of neglect. Half an hour passed and it was almost time. Su Junming coughed. In an instant, the originally noisy room became audible. His majestic gaze swept over everyone. Seeing that our sect is growing day by day, as the head teacher, I am deeply gratified. There are two main reasons why I brought all of you here in a hurry today. First, our sect has gained many new disciples in recent years. Take this opportunity to get to know each other, so as not to be embarrassed if you don't know each other when you meet in the future. Secondly, all the disciples who practice Taoism in the world of Chongshan know that recently, together with your third uncle, I obtained Guangchenzi's Guangchen golden ship from the Yuanjiang River and obtained many treasures. I don't have any use for most of these things. Instead of keeping them as decorations, I might as well distribute them to you. In the future, they can be used to ward off demons and protect the Tao. After hearing this, the eyes of many third-generation disciples below instantly lit up. From the master's tone, it was obvious that he was going to give away the treasure. Facing the expectant eyes of everyone, Su Junming looked at his eldest disciple. Qin Zhong. The disciple is here. Qin Zhong, who is almost 10 feet tall and has a majestic figure, stands out from the crowd, with an eternal and unshakable perseverance in his broad, simple, and steady face. He became more and more satisfied with this great disciple. Although his qualifications, talents, and understanding are not perfect, his perseverance is amazing and his character is excellent. You never need to worry about him taking a wrong path or slacking off in his cultivation. Therefore, he has never been stingy with rewards for Qin Zhong, including the blood of the Great Witch. Qin Zhong did not live up to his expectations and spent most of his time practicing in the Earth's fire magma. In less than 300 years, he has reached the peak of low-grade military generals. With a slap on the green gourd on his waist, a white ball the size of an adult's fist flew out. This sphere is filled with extremely rich innate Taishi Zhengjin spiritual energy. Guangchenzi left tens of thousands of ancient weapons in the golden ship. After Su Junming refined all of them, 1/2 of them were used to practice the Four Elephants' divine sword. All that's left is the ball in Su Junming's hand. Concentrated essence. When you practice martial arts, personal weapons are the foundation. These innate Taishi Zhengjin spiritual energy elites will be given to you. With them, your Huangjia and Qingtian war spear are enough to advance to the top immortal weapons. Disciple, I would like to thank my mentor for the gift of this treasure. Qin Zhong raised his hands above his head and took the white ball. Lin Zhenying. The disciple is here. Lin Zhenying, who is almost the same as Uncle Ju, stands out from the crowd. Looking at him, Su Junming couldn't help but think of Uncle Ju. Is your dad okay? Everything is fine with him. Especially after receiving the elixir you gave him, he has now become a soul. That's good. After thinking for a while, Su Junming spread his palms. A golden red lotus slowly flew out from it. Bring him this 1,000-year-old warm jade lotus flower. This lotus flower was originally intended to be given to Taiyuan patriarch Chenlin, but now that he has a better choice, he naturally has no need for it. On the contrary, Uncle Ju was ostracized in Mission Nanzong because of him. As an elder who helped him a lot when he first entered Taoism, Su Junming could not just let it go. In fact, if Uncle Ju hadn't refused to abandon Mission, Su Junming would have drawn him into the Chongshan lineage. Immediately afterwards, the black crescent moon and the white full moon entangled with each other flew out from Su Junming's palm. This male and male slash is a top-grade immortal weapon that Guangquanzi imitated from his innate spiritual treasure and male sword. I will give it to you today. Disciple thanks my mentor. After nodding with a smile, a jade slip appeared in the palm of his hand again. Among the many disciples under my sect, you practice yin and yang Dao, and you also have a Taoist companion. It just so happened that I got a copy of the Yellow Emperor's Yin Fujing from the Guangcheng Golden Ship. The explanation of the dual cultivation path is profound and profound. Today I will give it to you. After you go back, you and Xiaoying can practice together. In the future, you two can also be a couple of gods and immortals. Guarding so many classmates and juniors, Lin Zhengying couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed on his face. However, a profound dual cultivation method is of great importance to the enlightenment of his wife. After taking a deep breath, he took it respectfully. After thanking him again, he returned to his futon and sat down. Qiao Shaoxin. The disciple is here. Wearing a green sarong and a floral scarf covering her head full of black hair, Qiao Shaoxin is no longer the ugly lame girl she used to be. Looking at the gentle and dignified woman in front of him, who although not very beautiful, exuded a holy brilliance, Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. Among her many disciples, excluding Qin Zhong who was supported by the great witch essence and blood, her cultivation level was the highest. The late stage of Earth Immortal is close to perfection. Almost as good as the Dragon Emperor. The 5 disciples under the sect, Gongsun Juniang, Ning Keichin, Situ Minjiao, Jin Yun, and Guyu, are all outstanding talents. A red gourd emerged from Su Junming's palm. This gourd is the first gourd to mature in his 7-treasure gourd vine. Containing innate spiritual fire, it is a top-quality fairy weapon that has grown up day after day. Considering that Qiao Shaoxin already had many immortal artifacts such as the Heaven of Creation, the White Lotus Throne, the Tashita Purple Lamp, the Purple Ji Divine Cauldron, the 7 Treasures Flower Basket, the Blue Divine Scepter, and the Caixia Clothes, Su Junming gave her the Fire Cloud Gourd. The powerful flames inside can greatly increase her chances of succeeding in making alchemy. This Fire Cloud Gourd contains dry heavenly fire, so you should use it with caution. Qiao Shaoxin's understanding was extraordinary, and he understood the meaning of Master's words instantly. Disciple understands, thank you very much, Master. After waving him back. Yan Chixia. The disciple is here. Yan Chixia, tall and muscular with a big beard, stepped forward wearing a navy blue waistcoat, a black robe, and tiger head boots. Hundreds of years have passed, and Yan Chixia is still the same as when he first became a disciple of Chongshan. However, compared to the past, his sword energy was more restrained. It's like a hidden dragon hidden in the abyss. Once it breaks out, it will definitely be earth-shattering. I will give you the 9 Palaces Divine Sword and the Great Sumuru Positive and Negative 9 Palaces Immortal Formation. When the two merge together, it will be a top-notch immortal formation. A generous sword box appeared in Su Junming's palm. Disciple, I would like to thank my teacher for the gift. However, it is enough for me to have Xian Yuan sword and King Yu's divine cauldron. Master should give the sword array to other junior brothers or junior sisters. Su Junming smiled lightly. No wonder Liu Yun refused the treasure I gave him in Bihai a few years ago. Behind the feelings is the teaching of you, the master. Disciple is ashamed. He waved his hand. Being able to restrain your greed in front of Kongbao shows that you have great perseverance and good nature. How can I blame you? However, as a teacher, you cannot favor one thing over another. Therefore, you must hold this great Sumera positive and anti-nine palaces immortal formation. If you don't need it now, you will still have disciples in the future. After Yan Chixia heard this, she did not refuse. Disciple thanks my mentor. Su Huang. Wearing a white dress, Su Huang stands out from the crowd with her unparalleled elegance. Disciple Su Huang, please see master. As his cultivation level increased, the noble and cold temperament of Su Huang, who was born in the Phoenix clan, became more and more obvious. You have always lacked an offensive weapon that can make the final decision. Today I will give you the best immortal weapon Fi Yun Ge. Su Junming opened his palm, and a 2-foot-long golden spear with a dark gold body and an extremely sharp spear blade appeared in everyone's eyes. Although this Jin Ge looks calm, when those disciples who have not yet entered the immortal way look at it, their eyeballs will subconsciously feel the sting of needles. What a powerful killing weapon, all the disciples marveled in their hearts. This thing is extremely lethal. I hope you can use it well and avoid killing. Disciples must remember the words of their mentor, use this treasure with caution, and avoid committing murderous crimes. Su Huangzhen took the Fi Yung over seriously. After nodding slightly, he waved her back. He turned his head and looked at the old Taoist behind him who was wearing a green robe and had white beard and hair. Zuch Wolong. Hearing him calling his name, Zuch Wolong stepped forward quickly. Disciple, please refer to the headmaster. Su Junming smiled and nodded. Among the second-generation disciples of Chongshan lineage, he is the only one who has the image of a bright-headed old man. Opening your palms, a compass with the bagua on the outside, the 4 symbols on the inside, and a silver needle suspended in the middle emerges. You major in the 5 elements Dao, and you are also good at heavenly secrets. After I retrained the Sinan magic weapon, it not only has the ability to assist in calculations, but also contains the Earth's magnetism, which can break the 5 poisons of fireworks. The silver needle in the middle can kill unparalleled. I will give it to you today. Zuch Wolong stepped forward and took it with both hands. Disciple, thank you master. After smiling and nodding, he turned his eyes again. Chen Lin. The disciple is here. The former Tai Hunyuan patriarch has now become a monk in the middle stage of Earth Immortal. After getting rid of the shackles of the Wu Tai sect and focusing more on practice, his potential finally exploded. After Su Junming examined it for a moment, he opened his palm, and a golden jade ruler slowly flew out from his palm. 9 Heavens Yuan Yang Ruler. A top-grade pure Yang immortal artifact forbidden by the 9 immortals. Originally, Su Junming planned to turn the 10,000 years warm jade lotus into an immortal weapon and give it to Chen Lin as his natal magical weapon. But the foundation of the 10,000 years warm jade lotus is not as good as the 9 Heavens Yuan Yang Ruler. On a sudden impulse, he gave the lotus flower to Uncle Ju. It just so happened that I gave him this 9 Heavens Yuan Yang Ruler. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 642. This is the 9 Heavens Yuan Yang Ruler, the magic refining treasure of Guangquanzi, which your third uncle accidentally obtained after slaying Wei Fengniang of Qinglian Valley and the 8 demons of Sichuan. I will give it to you today. Chen Lin took a deep breath, quickly suppressed the joy in his heart, and bowed calmly to salute. Disciple, thank you master, and thank you third uncle. The Dragon Emperor nodded expressionlessly. Su Junming gently raised his hand, and the Yuan Yang ruler slowly flew into Chen Lin's hand with his magic power. Practice well and don't let down the expectations that your third uncle and I have for you. Yes, this disciple will never dare to slack off. Let's go back. After Chen Lin bowed and saluted again, he returned to his futon and sat down. Miao Chufang. The disciple is here. Miao Chufang, who was wearing a red skirt, was almost second only to Su Huang in terms of appearance. Unlike Su Huang, who was cold and noble, and kept others away from thousands of miles away, nor was she like Xiao Shaoxin, who was gentle and compassionate. She had a dignified air about her, as if she were a lady. A golden axe flashing with golden aura and embossed with images of exotic animals appeared in Su Junming's palm. This golden axe revealed a murderous aura that was no less than that of Fi Yunji. It is another top-notch killing immortal weapon. I give you the ultimate killing weapon, the Golden Kirin. This thing has a strong killing power. I hope you can use it well. Disciple, I obey. Thank you very much for the treasure given by my mentor. Su Junming turned his eyes and looked at the handsome young man wearing a moon-white robe and a brocade belt around his waist. Lian Shan in the previous life, Shang Taijin in this life. However, Su Junming had already erased Lian Shan's memory when he was reincarnated. From now on, you are just a second-generation disciple of my Chongshan Academy, Su Junming thought to himself. Shang Taijin. The latter stood up quickly. The disciple is here. Pan now. The disciple is here. Wearing apricot yellow Taoist robes, Pan now, a sturdy figure, stood up quickly. For these two newly promoted second-generation disciples of Chongshan sect, the disciples who started earlier felt strange. I'll introduce it to you while everyone is here. Shang Taijin and Pan now are the direct disciples of your fourth master uncle. Shang Taijin is the eldest and Pan now is the youngest. At the same time, they are also the 9th and 10th direct disciples of the second generation of my Chongshan section. I have met all the senior brothers and sisters and all the senior nephews. I've met 2 junior brothers. I've met 2 master uncles. After everyone greeted each other, a black fairy weapon shaped like a turtle shell with 9 claw hooks inside appeared in Su Junming's palm, as well as a red polygonatum plant. Shang Taijin, today I give you the Lai He Wuungi Yang talisman, which matches the Yin talisman in your hand. This red flame immortal bamboo is the root of immortality. I will also give it to you today to keep it with you, the treasure of Dongtian's suppressive wisdom. Disciple, thank you master for the treasure. Shang Taijin looked excited. He clearly sensed the Yin talisman of the clutch and 5 clouds Gui in his danshan, and sensed the eagerness revealed after the Yang talisman appeared. Moreover, in addition to the Yang talisman, the patriarch also gave a book of immortal roots. After Su Junming nodded slightly, another cyan iron rope appeared in his palm. Pan now, I will give you a top-grade immortal weapon, the Green Dragon Chain. I hope you will make good use of it and contribute to our Chongshan section. Disciples must remember the teachings of our master, practice hard, and contribute to the Chongshan lineage. Su Junming nodded and waved his hand. The Green Dragon Chain flew into Pan Nao's palm. Feeling the power of the immortal weapon given by his uncle, Pan Nao was excited. Although there are many treasures in his hands, except for the Xian Huang Pagoda, the natal spiritual treasure, none of them can compare to the Green Dragon Chain. After all the second-generation disciples were distributed, the eyes of the third-generation disciples instantly became hot. They know that the patriarch has always been fair in dealing with things, and they must have a share in the gift of treasure today. Su Junming smiled slightly. He obtained more than 20 spiritual treasures from the treasure niches on the inner wall of the 7th floor of the Guangcheng Golden Ship. Many of them later grew into immortal weapons after his sacrifice. In addition to the rest of the 19 treasures originally obtained under the jade pillars of the Golden Courtyard of Xiun Palace, there are a total of 37 immortal weapons and spiritual treasures. It's enough for one person from the Chongshan lineage to share one piece, which is more than enough. Su Junming waved his hand and said, Ho'ola, and more than 100 rays of light flew out from his sleeves. In addition to fairy weapons and spiritual treasures, there are also spiritual elixirs, good materials, and spiritual roots. There are so many that they almost fill the roof. The dazzling Bao Guangxia Qi dazzled the new disciples. Even second-generation disciples like Xiao Shaoxin were surprised by the wealth of their master. All three generations of disciples, sit cross-legged and silently, use your spiritual consciousness to sense and see which items you are related to. After Su Junming finished speaking, all three generations of disciples quickly crossed their legs and released their spiritual consciousness according to his instructions. Soon someone seduced Bao Guang and got it into his hands. Seeing their happy expressions, Su Junming had a smile on his face. The so-called fate is just a pretense. In fact, who gets how many spiritual treasures? Who can get spiritual roots? He arranged it from the beginning. The reason for this extra step is just to avoid uneven distribution and resentment. Although this possibility is small, it is not completely impossible. If you can avoid it, it's better to avoid it as much as possible. Seeing everyone's smiles, Su Junming felt a little more relaxed. In this trip to divide the treasures, except for the Wooding Divine Axe, the Cornucopia, Li Gui, and the Guangcheng Golden Ship, he basically divided up all the remaining unused treasures. Quiet. With a shout, everyone silenced instantly. After everyone's eyes were focused on him, Su Junming patted the gourd on his waist. 6 o'clock starlight flew out. In the blink of an eye, a strong and powerful demonic aura filled the entire room with an astonishing medicinal fragrance. What amazing medicinal properties! Seeing the golden elixir the size of a dragon's eye in mid-air, everyone exclaimed. As you can see, this is the famous Guangcheng golden pill in Shushan's spiritual world. It is said that one pill can equal the power of thousands of years of meditation and breathing. In the Guangcheng golden ship, I got 36. Any disciple of my Chongshan sect whose cultivation level can reach the middle stage of Earth Immortal and who can major in Taoism and practice can reach the first level of True Immortal can apply to me. After I pass the inspection, I will give you this elixir. His deep gaze slowly swept over everyone. As I said just now, this golden elixir can be worth 1,000 years of merit. As for my Chongshan lineage, with the help of the Zhen sect's treasure, my realm is always higher than my magic power. This golden elixir will undoubtedly make up for our shortcomings. Let's cultivate the best treasure to advance quickly. With a wave of his hand, 6 golden elixirs fell in front of Lin Zhenying, Qiao Shaoxin, Yan Chixia, Su Huang, Zhuge Wolong, and Chen Lin respectively. Under my Chongshan sect, apart from me and your 7 senior uncles, you are the only 7 senior brothers who meet the requirements. I will give you these 6 Guangcheng golden pills as a reward from your senior brothers. I will give them to you today. The opportunity to quickly improve their cultivation level is right in front of them, and the 6 of them will naturally not refuse it. Su Junming casually sealed the medicinal power of 6 golden elixirs, and under the influence of his magic power, they slowly fell into the hands of 6 people. Disciple, I would like to thank my mentor, uncle, for the elixir. The third-generation disciples behind him, as well as the 3 second-generation disciples Miao Chufang, Shang Taijin, and Pan Luo, were full of envy. There is no one who does not envy, and it is impossible not to envy. This is a real fairy. In the world of Chongshan and the world of China, no true immortal has yet been born. Even in the Shushan world, the true immortal is definitely the top master of the pyramid. When you arrive in the Lingkong fairyland, you don't have to start from the bottom, as you can earn more respect. The most important thing is that Guangcheng Golden Pill can save them hundreds of years of hard work and will allow them to go further on the path of cultivation in the future. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 643. Chapter 643. Clan, Memories 5,900 starting coins. Shuqianji 5,000 starting coins. I have been a professional book reader for 18 years and now I still read genuine books for 1,500 starting coins. /U0026 /U0026 wandering /U0026 /U0026 starting coins. Be your forever shoulder 1000 starting coins. 5 virtue gourd 1000 starting coins. Can the explosion be so slow? 1000 starting coins. AU 1000 starting coins. Lingren 1000 starting coins. Boring Little Evil 1000 starting coins. Fog and Fog with 600 starting coins. Son of Destiny of All Realms 500 starting coins. Shady AO netizens have more fun with 500 starting coins. Wood Grandmaster 500 starting coins. Yun's Home is the Sky 500 starting coins. Librarian X 500 starting coins. A statue of Zhang Yumeng life costs 500 starting coins. Xiaoliangzi 500 starting coins. 2019060118311659 500 starting coins. Oh my son, 500 starting coins. EBS Banbao 500 starting coin. Qingliandoge 500 starting coins. Chunyang Yujian 500 starting coins. Wuzu 500 starting coins. O refined into steel by 100 O 500 starting coins. My son, his grandfather's son, 500 starting coins. 16013112432347 200 starting coins. 16211415450863 300 starting coins. Fantasy Imagination solely honors 200 starting coins. 2017051717302570 100 starting coins. Xingyu's Blue 100 starting coin. Musalizushenxia 100 starting coin. Sum Wang 100 starting coins. W Fenguo Wuhang 100 starting coins. Lam Sky 100 starting coins. Black and White Square Bamboo 100 starting coins. 20170611001294 100 starting coins. Infinite Martial Arts 100 starting coins. My head is going to explode 100 starting coins. Quanzinding 100 starting coins. Holy RYHR 100 starting coin. Wanderer Bookworm 100 starting coins. Menyaya 100 starting coin. Old Uncle Wandering Bug 100 starting coins. Angel at Home 100 starting coins. Seasonal Ziguang 100 starting coin. 201812151841555525 100 starting coins. Empty City Yimeng 100 starting coins. Book Eater Ads 100 starting coins. Li Binja 100 starting coins. Xiao Bays 100 starting coins. Thanks to the above 51 book friends for their tips, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 644. Seeing the fiery eyes of all the disciples, Su Junming nodded secretly in his heart. The purpose of taking out the Guangcheng golden elixir in public was to stimulate everyone's enthusiasm for cultivation. Looking at the current situation, it is obvious that his goal has been achieved. Okay, these are the things I want to explain at this party. Who has anything else to ask? A handsome young man wearing a blue robe stood up. Master, this disciple has a question. It was Peng Xian who spoke. Feeling countless attentions, he also felt heavy pressure in his heart. You say. I took a deep breath, calmed my mind, and organized my words. Many senior brothers and sisters entered the field earlier than me and other junior disciples, and their cultivation levels are much higher than ours. If we follow the Master's conditions, the middle stage of Earth Immortal, and the true immortal realm, we, the junior disciples, may not have the slightest chance. He hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth. Master's move is unfair. Yan Shixia's expression changed. You brat, what are you talking about? Sit down quickly. This bastard is too courageous to criticize the patriarch in public. Even if he says it, he might as well do it in secret, Yan Shixia thought to herself. However, he had forgotten how he had always warned sword cultivators that they should rather bend than bend and follow their heart. Others were also surprised by Pang Xian's courage, especially the junior disciples, who looked at him with admiration in their eyes. After waving to signal Yan Shixia not to say anything, Su Junming looked at him appreciatively. How do you think it should be distributed? Disciples also know that there is no absolute fairness. Therefore, for senior brothers and sisters who have advanced to the immortal realm, the master's conditions are no exception. But for the disciples who have not advanced to the immortal realm, a time limit should be set, such as 10 years, or half a year. During this period, whoever makes the fastest progress in cultivation will be able to obtain the Guangcheng Golden Pill. Su Junming nodded slightly and turned his eyes. What do you second-generation disciples think? Disciple thinks that Master Nephew Pang's proposal is very good. Jiao Shaoxin continued. Master distributed the Guangcheng Golden Pill with the original intention of motivating the disciples to practice hard. If the starting conditions are followed, the new disciples will have no hope, and naturally they will have no motivation to practice. This is contrary to the Master's wishes. On the contrary, it is senior nephew Pang's proposal that can ensure fairness to the greatest extent. The disciples also think this is a good idea. Lin Zhengying continued. 10 years, or half a century later, all the disciples will gather together again to evaluate each disciple's progress in cultivation one by one, and those who are successful will come first. The disciple has objections. Chen Lin said. Master's gift of elixirs not only has the purpose of motivating all disciples to practice hard, but more importantly, it allows our disciples to improve their cultivation faster, advance to the level of true immortal, and contribute to our section. Therefore, in order to ensure fairness, as long as all direct disciples of our sect can reach the middle stage of earth immortal cultivation and reach the realm of true immortal by majoring in Taoism, we will be given the Guangcheng Golden Pill. Only in this way can the effect of the golden elixir be maximized. Therefore, the disciple proposes that within the period of half a year, those who have reached the middle stage of earth immortal in internal cultivation and have reached the realm of true immortals in Taoism will be given priority to receive the Guangcheng Golden Pill. Disciples who have exceeded the standard for more than half a century will be distributed Guangcheng Golden Pill according to their cultivation level. As soon as this statement came out, he instantly won the recognition of most people. After taking a look around, it seems that everyone agrees with this distribution plan. In that case, let's follow Chen Lin's method. The deadline is half a year. Su Junming made the final decision. Master is wise. Who has anything else to do? No one spoke again. If you have nothing to do, go out. We haven't seen each other for a long time. Let's chat more and return to our respective worlds in 3 days. Disciple, obey. After Su Junming waved his hand, everyone retreated one by one. Soon only 4 people, Su Junming, Renwuji, Long Di, and Ao Tian, were left in the vast hall. It can also be said that he is alone. Renwuji instantly stopped maintaining the majestic image of the patriarch and stretched greatly. These pestering little guys are finally gone. Then he extended his hand. My dear, where is my Guangcheng Golden Pill? Su Junming tossed a porcelain bottle, and the latter opened it and took a look at it, then nodded with satisfaction. He, now my ancestor, I can advance to the level of true immortal. How about I give you the Yellow Emperor's Yin Talisman Sutra, and you also find a Taoist companion, and add the Guangcheng Golden Pill, which will ensure that you can advance to the middle stage of true immortal. If you work hard, there will be great hope in the later stage, and you will surpass me. After finishing the chores, Su Junming relaxed and rarely joked. Renwuji touched his chin, with a hint of eagerness on his face. It's not impossible. Su Junming was stunned. You're not really moved by Fan Xin, are you? Haha, of course I lied to you. Women are so troublesome, how could I be interested? With your small body, there's nothing you can do if a woman strips her naked and puts her in front of you. Ren Wuji was furious when he heard this. Ao Lao Si, you fart. Who are you looking down on? Although he is only a 4 or 5-year-old boy, it is not too easy to change his body shape using immortal methods. Ao Tian curled his lips. I'm talking about you. If I majored in yin and yang, I would have wives and concubines all over the place and children crawling all over the floor. Only a lowly animal like you would be interested in such an uninterested thing, Ren Wuji said disdainfully. Ha ha ha. Why are you laughing? I'm laughing at you for being stupid. We are connected by the same fate. If I were a lower animal, wouldn't you be too? You won't even curse. Ren Wuji raised his right index finger and waved it in front of him. Wrong, I am a corpse dog soul, and you are a bird soul, born inferior. Okay, everyone, shut up. Su Junming interrupted impatiently. I don't know what happened, but the two people quarreled when they met. They are still passionate about each other. Is there any news about Master? Ren Wuji restrained his laughter and shook his head. I still haven't contacted Taoist priest Four Eyes, but there is someone in the Chinese world who has ascended to the realm of Earth Immortal and ascended. Su Junming, Ao Tian, and the Dragon Emperor, who had always looked cold and silent, all turned their heads and looked over. Ascension means a new world. Who? Your acquaintance, Master Kongxiu of Liudang section. It turns out it's him. Su Junming's face showed a look of memory. When the Wuzang Peak Cave Heaven appeared in the world, everyone thought it was an ancient cave and went there one after another, hoping to get a few treasures. Su Junming was one of them. It was later discovered that it was not an ancient cave at all, but a huge crater that had been suppressed. If he hadn't used the bronze mirror to discover the clues in advance and prevent everyone from breaking the restriction, a catastrophe would have almost occurred. However, he also became the lord of the 5-foot peak cave and took over the responsibilities that should have belonged to the Liudang sect. Until the spiritual energy of the Chinese world was revived, Ren Wuji had been sitting in the Wuzang Peak Cave Heaven. Of course, today, after integrating with the huge Kunlun Ruins Cave, Wuzang Peak has become the Chongshan Huaxia Cave, the base camp of Chongshan Academy in the Chinese world. That's not right. Although the old Taoist Kongxiu is strong, the leaders of Mission South Sect Zhao Lai, North Sect Zhao Lai, Leguan Taoist Luo Yu, and Tianchi Sect Zhang's Haijing are not worse than him in cultivation. Why is there no movement? Or is it that only Kongxiu Taoist found the coordinates to the new world, but the older sects such as Mission, Leguan Tao, and Tianchi Sect did not have it? The details are not very clear yet. The entire Chinese cultivation world has only ascended to one level. Su Junming nodded. It would be better if there is a vast world there. With the help of the Great Witch Essence and Blood, it won't take long for his physical martial arts cultivation to reach the level of Golden Immortal, which is the limit that this world can accommodate. There must be a new, more powerful world in the future in order for his practice to continue to progress. I think you'd better not have too much hope. The Chinese world was originally just a small thousand world, and those who can be promoted are mostly in the middle thousand world, not the great thousand world. Instead of making decisions in the Chinese world, it is better to go to the Lingkong fairyland to think of a solution. Dragon Emperor said calmly. Su Junming nodded slightly. And he has another guess. The history of the Shushan world and the Huaxia world is so imagined. There is a possibility that most of the ascendants from the Huaxia world came to the Shushan world. Then he ascended from the Shushan world to the spiritual world, and finally went to other worlds. If this conclusion is correct, then there are clues to the world he wants in the spiritual world. It seems that it is necessary to end the disputes in the Shushan world as soon as possible, Su Junming said slowly. When you survive the catastrophe, you will be able to advance to the level of a high-grade general. Even if Master Chen Mei becomes a true immortal, you don't have to be afraid. And Long Lao San, Zheng Ying, and Xiner can also become true immortals. With the strength of our Chongshan sect, we can sweep across Buddhism and Ime. We don't need to worry about it at all, Renwuji said. My name is Dragon Emperor, not Long Lao San, Dragon Emperor said coldly. Hey, it's just a name, why bother so much? Having said that, he turned his head away without giving the Dragon Emperor a chance to reply. My lord, how do you pay attention to me? Su Junming smiled faintly and said, let's wait until we compete with Ime this time. In my opinion, we should slow down the matter of eradicating Ime and Buddhism first, Ao Tian said. Ao Lao Si, when did you become a mother-in-law? She glanced at him and said, I'm not as stupid as you. What do you mean? Renwuji said angrily. My idea is very simple. We must first wipe out demonic and evil forces such as Taicheng Mountain, Great Ashura Palace, and West Kunlun, and then finally have a showdown with Ime and Buddhism. Otherwise, we will have a head-on confrontation with Ime and Buddhism from the very beginning. Even if our strength is intact, it's also physically and mentally exhausting. When the time comes, these evil heretics take the opportunity to attack, and we will be in trouble. There was a hint of thought on Su Junming's face. There are also experts in the two realms of evil and demons. Apart from anything else, the cultivation level of Tai Changshan Patriarch is at least at the peak of a true immortal, and he may even be a mysterious immortal. Moreover, the evil boy prodigy Zongsha directly imprisoned the sources of the Yangtze River and the Yellow River. Once he was defeated, he would use his magic to restore the world to prehistoric times. Such great magic power is definitely something that only a true immortal can do. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 645. Chapter 629, The Spiritual Pond of Creation, the Iron Umbrella recalls the past. In addition to the old demon Xingxiu, the ancestor Honglian, and the monk Shuangzhen, these old monsters are not easy to deal with. This is what Su Junming knows. No one knows what kind of giant monsters are hidden in these 2,000 miles of Shushan. After listening to Ao Tian's words, Renwuji also calmed down. My dear, what Ao Lao Si said makes sense. We can't give those demons a chance. In addition, I think with the wisdom of those guys in Ime, especially the treachery of that guy Qi Shuming, they will definitely take this into consideration. Therefore, it is necessary to take advantage of the opportunity of sword competition to show your cards with them first. Su Junming pondered for a moment and then nodded. By the way, those old monsters are rare tool men, stay with me when the time comes, Ao Tian said quickly. This is your main purpose, right? Renwuji said. Of course. But I also think about it for everyone. A tyrannical Chongshan world is our strongest foundation. Although what he said was true, it was somewhat high-sounding now. By the way, where is my Guangcheng golden pill? Ao Tian said, licking his face. Do you need it? I have already given you the head of the Great Witch, what else do you want? Renwuji said. Seeing the three people glaring at each other, Ao Tianzan smiled and said, well, I'll go back first. It's quite troublesome. The figure flashed and disappeared instantly. This bastard knows how to take advantage. Renwuji turned his head and continued, please give me one more, 2 Guangcheng golden pills, and I can advance to the level of Xianxian. Seeing him swearing, Su Junming waved his sleeves. Get out of here too. If you don't give it, I won't give it. Why are you so angry? The voices gradually faded away. Seeing Su Junming's gaze, the Dragon Emperor raised 2 fingers expressionlessly. Boom, Spiritual energy surges. Before Su Junming could slap him with his palm, the Dragon Emperor disappeared instantly. None of these bastards makes me worry. Shaking his head, he turned and walked towards the backyard. The creation spirit pond is filled with this extremely rich spiritual energy, and the milky white translucent water exudes a faint three-color glow. 9 cyan lotus flowers, 3 golden lotus flowers, 2 parallel lotus flowers, and 17 white lotus flowers occupy a small area of water and are growing vigorously. The acquired creations include green lotus, Bodhi golden lotus, Albizia julibrissin, plus the Yaokai jade lotus that Su Junming obtained from the light realm from childhood. Although there are only 4 kinds, they are all top-notch immortal root immortal species, treasures that are hard to find in the world. Not far from the lotus flowers, a 10-foot-tall milky white boulder with 9 orifices on top stood in the calm water. The thick spiritual energy flew from all directions. When it was within 7 feet of the boulder, it had turned into a clearly visible white air column. When it was within 3 feet, it had almost turned into substance. It was as if 9 white pillars were growing out of the boulder according to the 9 palaces Bagua. Through the Danshan bronze mirror, you can see inside the stone, a fat boy about 14 or 15 years old, wearing a sexy red robe, holding a black clay pot in his arms, sleeping soundly. The whole person was wrapped in extremely rich spiritual energy. It seems like this guy won't come out unless he drains the spiritual energy from the 9 aperture spiritual stone. Su Junming waved his hand, and Li Gui and Guangcheng Jinzhou flew in. It formed a triangle with the black clay pot that was already inside, and slowly flew around the obese boy. Finally, I took a look at the Creation Spirit Island in the middle of the Creation Spirit Pond, which was surrounded by mist, clouds, and clouds. I thought about it and didn't go there again. A flash of light popped up from his crooked finger. Not long after, Pang Xian walked in with a cautious look on his face. Disciple Pang Xian meets the Patriarch. Do you know why I called you here alone? The sin of a disciple. Knowing your guilt, what are you guilty of? He raised his head carefully, wanting to see the ancestor's face, but he didn't expect to meet Su Junming's half-smiling eyes. His heart trembled and he quickly lowered his head. Shouldn't disciples question the Patriarch's decision in public? Really? In your mind, I, the Patriarch, am so petty that I can't even listen to the reasonable suggestions of my disciples. Disciples don't dare. Seeing how nervous he looked, Su Junming stopped teasing. Okay, get up. Disciples don't dare. There is no courageous person among my direct disciples of Chongshan Academy. Intrigued by his tone, Pang Xian quickly stood up. That's right. After patting his shoulder, he patted the gourd on his waist, and a dark iron umbrella flew out from it. Seeing it, Pang Xian's expression changed instantly. I have kept this 4-elephant umbrella since you were reincarnated. Now it is also a top-grade celestial weapon. If you add the talisman inside, it will be even more powerful. Su Junming didn't use any of the immortal talismans he got from Panluo's treasure house, so he put them all inside. Coupled with daily accumulation, the number of talismans in the 4 elephants umbrella has reached 1 million. Not counting the iron umbrella, the power erupted from these spiritual talismans was comparable to high-grade immortal weapons. With a rush of magic power, the 4-elephant umbrella slowly flew in front of Pang Xian. Now that you have become a soul again, it's time for it to return to its original owner. Pang Xian's expression changed drastically, and he finally took a deep breath. He stretched out his hands and took the 4-elephant umbrella. The current Pang Xian is actually Li Wubing, the registered disciple of Su Junming in the previous life. However, when resisting the Wushan cult in the Liuzai world, he unfortunately died in battle, and his soul was retained by Su Junming. After being nurtured by the innate power of creation, his talent and understanding improved a lot after being reincarnated again. he joined the 4 disciples of Chiao Shaoxan's section. Jin Yun passed the Daisa level test of the human soul divine sect together and became a disciple of Yan Chixia. Although he has changed from a second-generation disciple to a third-generation disciple, he has changed from a registered disciple to a direct descendant. Only when you become a direct disciple can you know the real difference between a direct disciple and a named disciple of Chongshan Academy. Not to mention anything else, the bronze mirror's great blessing on understanding is enough to make any monk irresistible to its charm. Disciple, thank you, Patriarch, for your support. A perfection contains several meanings. Not only for Su Junming's willingness to spend a huge price to reshape his soul and accept him as his direct heir, but also for the other party's unreserved teaching and retention of the 4 elephants umbrella to him. Practice hard. I'll personally give you a Guangcheng golden pill when I'm still half a year old. Don't worry, Patriarch, my disciples will definitely work hard. Go ahead. Pang Xian bowed deeply, paused for a moment, then turned and left. After looking at his back for a moment, Su Junming turned around and walked into the Tiangong Hall. In the huge Tiangong Hall, his incarnation is controlling the divine furnace, practicing the Pantuo divine spear and the 4 elephant sword formation. After many years of sacrificial training, Su Junming had completely refined all the materials Su Junming had painstakingly found into the state he wanted. However, what he wanted was not a top-grade immortal weapon, but a top-grade immortal weapon above the 10-level immortal ban. Therefore, he has not started refining it yet, but has been understanding the art of refining it with the help of the bronze mirror. And then improve your own weapon refining level. Time passes little by little, and another year passes in the blink of an eye. As the date for the sword showdown between Chongshan Academy and Yimei approached, there were more and more monks around Yuzhi Peak in Zongnan Mountain. Countless people even rushed here after hearing the news. Chongshan Academy, a famous righteous sect that rose like a comet, has become one of the most influential sects in the world of cultivation with the help of more than a dozen earthly immortals in its sect in only half a century. The only ones that can compare with them are Yimei and Kunlun. It is a pity that in recent years, after the Iwan Patriarch ascended, Kunlun has become inaccessible. The so-called 9 friends of Kunlun, except for capable people such as Master Tianqi and Zen Masters Haifei, are only at the Yuan Shen level. The lack of top experts is Kunlun's biggest shortcoming. Therefore, Kunlun, who led the group in the last massacre of immortals, became increasingly weak. In contrast, Yimei has good relations with Buddhism. Although Chenmei Genren ascended to the throne, he left a rich legacy for Yimei. Coupled with the efforts of Qi Shuming and other 3 generations of disciples, Yimei became more and more prosperous. If Chongshan Academy hadn't emerged from nowhere, they would now be the undisputed leader in the righteous path of the spiritual world. But everything has a if. Hunchback, why are you here? You old woman can come, why can't I? The tall camel Yuxio sat down on the bluestone next to him. Ling Hun, who was in ragged clothes, glanced at him. Is Fairy Han at Fixia Peak opposite? When did you, an old codger, become so smart? Haha, my old wife is right across the street, what do you think? But I advise you to give up. It would have been a good idea if you ruthlessly slaughtered the entire family, including your brothers, sisters-in-law, uncles and nephews, and not seeking revenge from you. You old man deserves to die. You won't pick up any pot, right? Yuxio said angrily. Ling Han smiled and said, you hunchback, why don't you know what's good and what's good, and you can't even hear what I'm saying? What I mean is, if you really agree with Fairy Han, just ask my old wife to help you make peace. Make peace. Yuxio hesitated for a moment and sighed deeply. Forget it, her anger hasn't gone away, so all the efforts in the past are in vain. That's right. When they are all reincarnated, if you give them a little help, maybe Fairy Han can really change her mind. Yi Shiu nodded and said, okay, don't talk to me anymore. Who do you think will win this time in the sword fight between Yimei and a third-generation disciple of the Chongshan lineage? Of course it's Yimei, Ling Han said without hesitation. I wonder if you are an old coquettish fool. There are 7 or 8 third-generation immortals in the Chongshan lineage. In Yimei, except for ascetic Taochuo, Qi Shuming, Tu Long, Sun Lanyan and those 2 dwarfs, who can compare? And as we all know, true monarch Chongshan is good at refining weapons. He also obtained the Guangcheng golden ship 2 years ago. The treasures in his hands are definitely not bad. Yimei wants to rely on powerful magical weapons as usual to overwhelm his opponents. It's probably impossible. Ling Han smiled and said, "You hunchback only knows one thing, but not the other. No matter how powerful Chongshan Zhenjun is in refining weapons, can the treasure he makes out of it be better than the purple and green swords? Although the Guangcheng golden ship is famous, I am afraid that even the immortal Lord Guangcheng will not keep such a good treasure." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 646. In addition, the 3 generations of Yimei have accumulated thousands of years of accumulation. The 5 peaks, 9 springs and 18 caves of Ningbai Cliff contain countless elixirs, magic weapons, and Taoist books. If they are all revealed, the strength of the disciples of the 3 generations of Yimei will inevitably improve by leaps and bounds, and they will win. It is not difficult to pass Chongshan Academy. Yuxiu nodded slightly. The Yimei sect started from Zhenren Dayuan, then to Zhenren Jinmei, and then to Qi Shuming. It has gone through 3 generations and thousands of years of accumulation, and has a very rich foundation. The connections accumulated in the cultivation world are not comparable to those of Chongshan Academy. If Yimei is willing to open Ningbai Cliff, then their chances of winning are obviously greater. He turned his head and looked at Ling Han. Why do I feel that there is resentment in your words? Why, you are not dealing with the people of Chongshan Academy. Ling Han's face changed slightly. Of course not. He studied under Master Jushin, but unfortunately his master was from a side section. Although he succeeded in ascending to the upper realm in the end, he did ascend by dissolving his corpse into immortality. This is not what he wants. Fortunately, he had a good chance and got the first volume and the second volume of Guangcheng Tianchu. Not only does it lay a solid foundation, it also has the possibility of becoming a heavenly immortal, or even a golden immortal. But after acquiring the skills and various magical techniques from the Guangcheng Heavenly Book, his ambitions began to swell. I also want to follow the example of Patriarch Yuan, Master Chenmei, Zhang Sanfen, and others, establish a sect and become an immortal and ancestor. In order to realize this ideal, and in order for the new sect to avoid any shortcomings, the Guangcheng Heavenly Book, which is the core of the sect, must of course be complete. Therefore, he has been inquiring about the whereabouts of the second volume of the Guangcheng Tianchu for these years. Later, it was Zen Master Tianmeng who told him the news. Moreover, it was also said that in addition to the second scroll of the Heavenly Book, there was also Guangchenzi's demon refining treasure, 9 heavens Yuan Yang ruler and a bottle of soul gathering elixir, a total of 3 treasures, which were occupied by Wei Feng and Yang of King Gluo Valley and the 8 demons of Sichuan. With Ling Han's strength, of course he wouldn't take them seriously. After immediately thanking Zen Master Tianmeng, he went straight to King Gluo Valley happily. Unfortunately, by the time he arrived, Wei Feng and Yang and the 8 demons of Sichuan had already died in the hands of the 3 patriarchs and 5 virtues of Chongshan. The Guangcheng Heavenly Book, Jushin Yuan Yang ruler and soul gathering refining pill that he wanted also fell into the hands of the other party. Although Ling Han was very confident in his own cultivation, he did not dare to take action against the 5 virtues true lord who had once resisted the alliance of Tianmeng and Baimei. Especially in the past few years since the opponent opened a dojo in Kangmang Mountain, He has captured countless demons and is invincible under the light of the great five elements god. Even the red-haired ancestor with astonishing strength was taken away by others as soon as he met him. Ling Hun asked himself that he didn't have such ability. Fortunately, the five virtues true monarch was also upright, and he seemed to know that the first volume and the middle volume of the Guangcheng Tianchu were in his hands, and he proposed an exchange between the two parties as soon as he came up. It was also because he was greedy and wanted to exchange 2 volumes of the heavenly book for the 9 heavens Yuan Yang ruler and the lower volume of the heavenly book. As a result, he was rejected by the 5 virtues true lord. Thinking about it now, I still feel a little regretful. Although the 9 heavens Yuan Yang ruler is good, inheritance is the foundation. The complete golden immortal inheritance is the core of his sect. As for treasures, if you spend more effort, you may not be able to find treasures comparable to the 9 heavens Yuan Yang ruler. Therefore, over the past few years, he has been regretting his original decision. But he couldn't bring himself to compromise with the 5 virtues true monarch. As time passed, a lot of resentment naturally accumulated in my stomach, and I also lost favor with Chongshan Academy. Hating the house and the crow is nothing more than this. Seeing Ling Hun's changing expression, Yi Xiu knew that he had guessed correctly. Old flower, when did you provoke them? Thinking that the two have been friends for many years and that their respective wives are also friends for many years, after hesitating for a moment, he sighed deeply. It's not like provoking. Tell the complete story of everything that happened in King Gluo Valley. You, an old man, don't even think about it. The Chongshan lineage has its own directly passed down techniques. I guess you are just curious about the Guangcheng heavenly book in your hand. You can exchange it, it doesn't matter if you don't exchange it. It turns out that it's good for you. You want someone else's 9 heavens Yuan Yang ruler. It's weird that the 5 virtues true monarch can do it with you. I only realized it afterwards. A trace of bitterness appeared on Ling Hun's face. She glanced at him and said, "Do you want me to make peace for you in the middle?" Ling Hun nodded his head. Although it is a bit embarrassing now, a complete set of golden immortal inheritance is much more important than his face. Forget it, if fellow Taoist Zuch comes this time, I will go find him. Yuxiu is bold and generous, upright and selfless, and firmly believes that man can conquer nature. He has made many enemies through his years of practice. 10 years ago, near Yuelu Mountain, he was besieged by more than a dozen earthly immortals, including the 2 elders of Songshan Mountain, the real Yuyun of Jade Cave, the red-haired ancestor, and others. Although Yuxiu's innate positive and negative 5 elements true qi is fierce and unstoppable, the tiger cannot resist the wolves, and when it is about to be defeated and sealed, Zuch Wolong happens to swim here. He once heard his master say that Snake King Temple is the dojo of Master Yuxiu and Taoist Master Hesha, so he still owes him karma. In addition, the reputation of Yuxiu in the spiritual community was not bad, so he took action. Although his great 5 elements divine light is not as powerful as the Dragon Emperor, it is also unparalleled in power. The two teamed up and fought fiercely for 3 days and 3 nights before they won a tragic victory. It was this time fighting side by side that made the two of them go from strangers to close friends. In addition, both of them majored in 5 elements Taoism and also liked playing chess. Their common interests brought them closer and closer. As a good friend of Yi Xiu, Ling Hun naturally understood, so he wanted the other party to make peace with him. My sister-in-law's affairs will be taken care of by me. Ling Hun reciprocated the favor and planned to ask his old wife Kui Wugu, the white-haired dragon girl, to make peace with Han Xianzi. Yuxiu smiled and nodded. Just as he was about to speak, suddenly several rays of fairy light came from the horizon. Soon he landed on a nearby mountain peak. What a powerful fairy light, at least it is first class among earthly immortals, Ling Hun said in surprise when he saw it. That's the disciple of Master Chizhang of Julingqiao Palace in Tianpeng Mountain overseas. Zhenjiang Genren, I heard from my master. It is said that he had attained Taoism thousands of years ago, and his magical powers are extraordinary. Yuxiu nodded. The magic power of the real Red Stick Master is still higher than that of the two elders of the Great Wilderness. He just lives in seclusion and practices. Not much is known about it in the cultivation world. He only occasionally visits friends in the spiritual world with the jade butterfly of Tianfu. I and his eldest disciple, the Red Stick Fairy Boy Ruanju, I'm a good friend, so I've met him in person a few times. Ling Hun looked at his friend with envy. In terms of wide acquaintances, he was more than one step ahead of Yishiu. Since we know each other, why don't you go say hello? This time, the second disciple Yao Si, the fifth disciple Gan Biwu, and the seventh disciple Ding Chang are here. They are all women. It is inconvenient for me to go there. It's rare that you still know how to avoid suspicion. Yishiu rolled his eyes at him and said nothing more. Second senior sister, there is still half a month before the sword competition. Why are there so many monks gathered here? Gan Biwu, who was dressed in green palace clothes, looked around and said in surprise. There were almost hundreds of thousands of various Qi machines mingling in the air. She was used to the tranquility of Lingqiao Palace in Tianpeng Mountain, but she had never seen so many monks before. Yao Si, who was dressed in a pink dress and had her hair tied up high, looked a little surprised after realizing it for a moment. It seems that the cultivation world attaches more importance to the sword competition than we expected. Ding Chang, who was wearing a long white dress, nodded in agreement. Chongshan Academy is very prestigious. Although it does not have the foundation accumulated over thousands of years in Yimei, the true monarch of Chongshan recently won the Guangcheng Golden Ship, defeating the three great monks Zunzhen, Tianmeng, and Beimei. The strength revealed shocked the entire practice world. No wonder they pay so much attention to this fight. The three divine monks Zunzhen, Tianmeng, and Beimei, any one of them, is not inferior to his master. Now that the three of them have joined forces, they are still unable to defeat true monarch Chongshan, which shows how advanced their cultivation is. Gan Biwu said with a slight worry, it's okay if Yimei wins. If Yimei loses, their status as the protagonists of the great catastrophe in the hearts of the monks will be overturned by Chongshan Academy. The faces of the three sisters showed worry at the same time. Although their Tianpeng Mountain Lingqiao Palace is aloof from the world, they have always been on good terms with Yimei. My heart naturally leans toward Yimei. What is the origin of Chongshan Academy? How did it suddenly appear and create such a big momentum? Ding Chang asked. I also asked Master about this matter. Master didn't say much. But I guess it comes from above, Yao Si said. Compared with ordinary earthly immortals, they occasionally go to the spiritual world due to their master, so they know a lot about the situation there. The Lingkong immortal realm is more than 10 times as wide as the lower realm, and the aura is dozens of times thicker. How could anyone abandon such an excellent cultivation environment and come to the lower realm? Gan Biwu said. Yao Si and Ding Chang shook their heads, they couldn't explain clearly. But if Chongshan Academy had not come from the Lingkong immortal realm, they would not have been able to rise suddenly in just 30 years. Master, uncle, look. Standing behind the three people, Zhao Hui, a disciple of Ding Chang, wearing a white skirt and buns, suddenly shouted. The three of them subconsciously raised their heads and looked into the distance. In the azure sky without any clouds, a huge green tree came across the sky. When I first saw it, it was still far away, but in the blink of an eye I was close. Most people don't know who the owner of this giant tree is, but the domineering aura exuding from it is shocking. This is definitely the momentum that only the Zifu immortal weapon has, and it is definitely not an ordinary immortal weapon. Someone who can control such a powerful immortal weapon and display it openly in front of thousands of monks must be extraordinary. Looking at the giant tree that spans half the sky. After Ding Chang examined it for a moment, it seems to be the blue spirit arc of the giant wood god, the son of the Qing emperor, at the top of the Wuwanding Mountains in the Great Wilderness Mountain. The giant wood god. Is it him? Ganbiwa did not doubt his junior sister's gaze. Isn't this person always living in seclusion in the Shenmue Palace and practicing, and rarely comes out of the world? Why is he here this time? Yao Se looked at it and said, it's not just him. There are also two old men from the Great Wilderness, Old Man Kazu, and Concubine Lu in the Green Divine Boat. How did they get together? Didn't Kazu and Lu knew separate long ago? Ganbiwa wondered if this was still the Shushan world he was familiar with. It seems that during our retreat, too many things happened in the practice world that we don't understand, Yao Se said. In the past, whenever something big happened, heaven would reveal it. But now that the situation is chaotic, no one can predict it. Just like this sword competition between Imei and Chongshan Academy, if Yabin, the owner of Admiralty Island, had not revealed it when he came here to visit friends, they would not have known that such a big event had happened in the world of cultivation. Tinpengshan Lingqiao Palace is located at the junction of Lishan and Tinpengshan. It is rich in spiritual energy and is a rare Lingshan scenic spot. But it is isolated from the thunderous wind, thousands of miles of sand, and thousands of miles of ice, so it is extremely closed. Only those who have cultivated to the level of Yuan Shen and have profound perseverance can reach it by taking the risk of falling. Such a place would be almost completely isolated from the outside world if it weren't for the immortal means. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 648. From the outside, the green spirit arc looks like a huge green tree that is over 3 feet thick and 9 feet long. But it does contain a space of 100 acres. Moreover, the flowers, yao grass, brocade trees, vines and vines make you feel like you are in a fairyland. In the middle, a hill rises from the ground, with a small lake on the top and a 2-story wooden house next to it. In the bamboo forest behind the wooden house, a young man with a bun and an extremely ugly girl stood aside. On the stone table in the middle, a middle-aged man wearing a green robe embroidered with bamboo leaves sits on the left, and a beautiful woman wearing brocade and a jade hairpin sits on the right. Both have white hair. It was Old Man Kuzu and Lu Concubine, but compared to the last time Su Junming met, their appearance had changed drastically, and there was no longer any alienation in their eyes when they looked at each other, but rather a hint of ambiguity. Apparently, the past feud has been settled and one step closer. Between the two people sat a tall man, wearing a navy blue robe, with long black hair tied with a cane and hanging down behind his head. In his right hand, a 9-foot-long black wooden staff stood out. Between the three of them, there was a water mirror about 10 feet in size suspended, and everything outside was clearly displayed in front of the eyes through the water mirror. I didn't expect so many people to come, Lu Nu said in surprise. Imei and Chongshan are now the top orthodox sects in the world of cultivation. One has been preaching for thousands of years and has a deep foundation, the other has as many masters as the clouds and has tens of millions of disciples. Everyone in the world wants to see who is better among them. After Kuzu finished speaking, he turned his head. Fellow Taoist Jamua, have you ever heard of the Chongshan Academy in the upper world? Chixian Shenzhou is 200 million miles wide, and there are hundreds of millions of living beings. There are as many monks as there are ministers across the river, and the number of sects is even more uncountable. In the Qingdi immortal domain where I once lived, there are nearly 100 sects like Chongshan Academy. So many families. If we include the Red Emperor Immortal Realm, the Black Emperor Immortal Realm, the White Emperor Immortal Realm, the Yellow Emperor Immortal Realm, the Four Seas, Kongming Mountain, and other places, there are probably thousands of them. So, I don't know if they are from China, Qi County. Most people in the Shushan world are accustomed to calling the upper world the Lingkong Immortal Realm, but the natives of the Lingkong Immortal Realm like to call themselves the Chixian Shenzhou. As the two elders of the great wilderness among the six monsters of the universe, Lu Nu and Kuzu have been famous for thousands of years. Their understanding of the spiritual world is naturally unparalleled to that of ordinary earth immortals. They also know that what the giant tree god said is true. They must be from the Lingkong immortal realm. Otherwise, how could they create such a huge foundation in just 30 years? Especially the Chongshan true Lord Su Junming, whose cultivation can overwhelm the three monks Zunchen, Tianmeng, and Beimei. It can be seen that he already a member of the Xianxian. With the concentration of spiritual energy in the lower world, it is simply impossible to become a Xianxian, Lu Nu said. Although being captured by Su Junming last time was a turning point in her relationship with Kuzu, she, who has always been proud and arrogant, is still depressed when she thinks about it. She didn't dare think about revenge. Even Zunchen, Tianmeng, and Beimei could overwhelm him together, let alone her. That's why I firmly believe that Su Junming is from the Lingkong immortal realm. This will at least make me feel better. It's not that I'm not strong enough, it's that the other person bullies me. After pondering for a moment, a glimmer of light flashed in the eyes of the giant wood god. Maybe, but it's also possible that he's not from China, Qi County. Withered Bamboo's expression moved slightly. What do fellow Taoists mean? The giant tree god smiled lightly and didn't say much. In fact, there are not only Chixian Shenzhou and Shushan world in the entire universe, there are other worlds outside. Moreover, he has also seen monks from other worlds ascending to Chixian Shenzhou. Kuzu was a smart man and didn't ask any more questions. And it happened to be at this time. The people from Imei are coming. I don't know who spoke with such a loud and resonant voice, which instantly made everyone subconsciously look up and look south. Soon, a golden ship that was 100 feet long, dozens of feet wide, and 7 stories high flew in from a distance, accompanied by the dazzling morning sun, stepping on the thick clouds, and carrying thousands of rosy colors. The gorgeous golden ship is eye-catching. In an instant, it compared with the giant wood god's spirit boat. The people in Imei are really vulgar, said Lu Nu. The protagonist of the Great Tribulation, he is naturally different from hermits like us. Because Kuzu had close relationships with many people in Imei, it was rare for him to explain something to them. However, there was no joy or anger on the face of the giant tree god, and he didn't know what he was thinking in his heart. In fact, it was pure coincidence that the three of them came together. When the two parties left the great wilderness mountain and rushed to Middle-earth, they happened to meet each other. The giant tree god invited them, and they came. Several rays of light flew out from the golden ship. It was obvious that the people from Imei were trying to make connections. Not long after, the mighty Buddha's light flew from the southwest. In the blink of an eye, the sky was filled with the scent of sandalwood, and the golden glow filled half the sky. A dozen monks and nuns are supported on the thick Dharma cloud. Moreover, the aura of each one is extremely powerful, and they are obviously powerful enough to achieve the state of Arhat. Zunchen, Tianmeng, Zigong, Beimei, Kongchuo, Fenchuo, Yutan, Duzi, Master Nin, Wuoming, good guys, are all the Buddhists dispatched. Lu Nu said in surprise. Seeing the Buddha's light cloud that occupied half the sky, the giant tree god who had always been extremely calm was also moved by it. That's it for the others. The three monks Zunchen, Tianmeng, and Zigong are all Buddhist Anagami Arhats who are equivalent to the Taoist true immortals. If you pick one out at random, there is no need to be inferior to him in terms of strength. The whole Buddhist team was dispatched and instantly caused a sensation at the scene. Too strong. Anyone who sees the Buddhist monks who occupy almost half of the sky, and whose vast Buddha light even suppresses sunlight, will be speechless. I didn't expect that Buddhism would dispatch so many masters at once. Su Zhenjun and his Chongshan Academy would be in trouble on the top of a mountain peak, Master Tianke, wearing a purple robe, said with some worry. More than a dozen masters in the Arhat realm, plus Zun Sheng, Tian Meng, Zhi Gong. The ancestor Xiang Kong, who was wearing a black robe opposite, also shook his head. Haha, let's not worry about it. I believe that the abilities of Su Daiyu and Chongshan are enough to handle it. Li Jingxiu, who looked like a golden boy in the middle, smiled. The real person seems to be very confident that Chongshan Academy will win this sword fight, Master Tianqi asked curiously. There was a hint of complexity in Li Jingxiu's eyes. Just half a year ago, he received a message from his chief disciple Lu Min, who told him something in an unbelievable tone. Zhuo Long survived the catastrophe and became a true Taoist immortal. When Li Jingxiu first got the letter, he thought he was cheating on his apprentice because he drank too much or didn't wake up and was talking nonsense. But thinking about Lu Min's character, he is not such a person. In order to find out the result, he flew directly to Kangmang Mountain. Then he went to visit Zhuo Long, who was a neighbor of Lu Mi, and the latter was in retreat and could not see him. But the lingering aftertaste of thunder in the sky told Li Jingxiu that what Lu Min said was not false. What a fairy! This is a real fairy. He has practiced Taoism for thousands of years, and it was only 5 years ago that he finally survived the true immortal tribulation and entered this incredible realm. Now Zhuo Long, a young boy, has actually followed closely behind him and reached this level. It really made Li Jingxiu unbelievable. Soon he thought of Guangcheng Jindan. Only the Guangcheng Golden Pill, which can replenish 1,000 years of cultivation, can allow people to advance quickly. But it's not enough to have magic power alone, and if you don't have a state of mind, you will definitely not be able to survive the 5 or 9 heavenly tribulations, especially the inner demon tribulation. But Zhuo Long's success in overcoming the tribulation means that regardless of his magical power or realm, he must be qualified. In order to obtain the final result, he lived with Lu Min for half a year until Zhuo Long came out of seclusion. After seeing him again and feeling the incomparable solid foundation in him, Li Jingxiu was shocked beyond words. But after calming down, he thought a lot more. Zhuo Long ranked 6th among the second-generation disciples of Chongshan. In front of him, there were Kongsang Fairy Chiao Shaoxin, Bearded Sword Saint Yan Chixia and Ice Phoenix Fairy Su Huang, 3 senior brothers and sisters who had obviously higher cultivation levels. It makes no sense, Zhuo Long can become a true immortal, but they can't. If everything goes as he expected, there will be at least 5 true immortals in the second generation of Chongshan lineage, including the stronger 5 virtues true monarch. As for Su Junming, in Li Jingxiu's heart, he could convince Zun Sheng, Tian Meng and Bai Mei to join forces, at least with Suingxian's cultivation level. With 1 Xian immortal, 5 true immortals, and more than a dozen earth immortals, Chongshan Academy with this strength is enough to compete with the alliance between Imei and Buddhism. This is why he is so confident that Chongshan Academy will win the sword competition between the 2 factions at Tianzu Peak in Zhongnan Mountain. Li Jingxiu smiled as he looked at the questioning looks of Master Tianqi and Ancestor Xian Kong, as well as the people around him. You will know when the disciples from Chongshan Academy arrive. Why is the real person playing riddles? Master Tianqi said. Look, someone is coming again. Everyone looked in the direction of each other's fingers. As soon as I saw it, a black cloud flew from the west. The clouds were still far away when I first saw them, but they were in front of me in the blink of an eye. Soon, the entire western sky was dyed black by clouds, and the extremely rich demonic energy spanned half the sky. He stood up to the Buddha's light and clouds next to him. The 2 sides seemed to be incompatible with each other, and in an instant, countless fireworks seemed to explode in the sky. The infinite Buddha light and demonic energy squeeze each other and destroy each other. Amitabha. Accompanied by the loud Dharma chant, the Buddha's light swelled, and an arhat with 3 heads and 6 arms, each holding a magical weapon, appeared in mid-air, accompanied by thousands of feet of Buddha's light. The great demon of freedom. With the same loud demonic roar, black clouds rolled, infinite demonic light surged, and a white bone demon with 4 heads and 8 arms stood up from the demonic clouds. Roar. The silent but qualitative roar swept across thousands of miles. The two nearly 10,000-foot-high statues competed with each other, and their invisible momentum made most of the monks around them feel depressed. Soon, a child wearing a lotus short coat, bare white feet, and a jade crown on his head, with the body of a boy like Li Jingxiu, but with a strong and powerful aura, suddenly appeared above the head of the magic minister. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 649. Zun Sheng, I am here to watch the battle, not to fight with you. Amitabha, the donor has been living in seclusion in West Kunlun for many years without paying attention to worldly affairs. Why did he come out of the mountain this time? Haha, are you different and have left the mountain? Could it be that people from your Buddhist sect can walk around the world at will, but not my demonic sect? The old monk didn't mean this. It's just that the people of the demon sect have always behaved erratically, acted wantonly, and caused endless killings. The old monk had to be vigilant. Although there are scum in my demon sect, you also have a lot of scum in your Buddhist section, but I'm too lazy to talk to you. I went out this time just to watch the battle, so you don't have to worry. After that, the 10,000 feet demon statue suddenly disappeared like a dream. The black clouds gradually converged, revealing a dozen figures. It's actually him. Do you know Yan Xiangwu? Yan Yingmu, who was dressed in purple palace clothes, nodded. I once heard fellow Taoists in Kunlun say that there are several evil sect masters living in seclusion in West Kunlun. The one with the highest cultivation level is called the Sand God Boy. This person, like Senior Master Li of Paradise, is also a boy. No, this is the person who had the accident. Yi Zhou nodded slowly. It is really rare to be able to compete with Zen Master Zunshen. This person's cultivation is so high. Next to them sat a middle-aged layman wearing a red robe. Do you know those guys next to you, Taoist Yan? Yan Yingmu nodded and said, if I guessed correctly, the one wearing a bright red Taoist robe with a rusty lotus flower is the ancestor of the West Kunlun Red Lotus. The one-armed monk with an iron hoop on his head and a fleshy face was the monk who escaped from the master Chang Mei, but half of his arm was cut off by the master. This man is also Jupanpo's senior brother, and he is very powerful in magic. The last one wearing a black robe and holding a jade ruyi is the old monster Xingxiu. These 4 people were called the 4 Saints of West Kunlun by the local spiritual community in the land of the West. In fact, they are all capable of the 2 paths of evil and demons. Especially the Sand God Boy and the Xingxiu Old Monster, although their reputation is not as good as that of the Honglian ancestor and monk Shuangzhen, but those who are truly powerful and above true immortal should not be insulted lightly. I never thought there was such a strong person in the land of West Kunlun. The middle-aged monk in red robe sighed. My little male Taoist friend has lived overseas for a long time and is devoted to cultivating. It is not surprising that he does not know the situation in the West Pole. Moreover, these powerful demons have not appeared in the world for hundreds of years, and the world knows very little about them, Yan Yingmu said. The young man from Tiangan Mountain nodded slightly. As the time gets closer, more and more monks from the cultivation world arrive. Even many people who had not been born for many years came to Zongnan Mountain. The turmoil caused by the sword competition between the Chongshan and Yimei factions finally turned into a huge wave. As each day passed, more and more comments spread among the crowd. Why haven't the people from Chongshan Academy come yet? Zhu Mei frowned as she stood on the Yimei golden boat. They have been here in Yimei for almost half a month, and the experts from various factions watching the battle have been waiting here for a long time. However, the other protagonist of the sword competition has not yet appeared. Maybe it was delayed for something, the drunk Taoist said hesitantly. What can be more important than a sword showdown between 2 factions, Bai Gai I said. Senior brother Qi, you said that the people from Chongshan Academy took advantage of our coming to Zongnan Mountain to go to Ningbai Cliff, right? This is impossible, Tong Yuankai said. At any rate, Master Chongshan is also a senior person who has been well known in the cultivation world for many years. It is impossible for him to see such a sneaky rogue thing. Humph, people's hearts are separated from each other, that's not certain, Zhu Mei said. Qi Shuming frowned and thought for a moment. Stop guessing. Ningbai Cliff is protected by the Lianji Dust Formation, and is presided over by senior brother Jian Bingru and Master Yijin. Even if Su Junming comes in person, it will be difficult to break it. Everyone nodded slowly. During this period, in addition to taking spiritual pills to enhance their cultivation, they were also familiar with the Imei Town Sex Grade Formation, the Liangyi Machan Formation. It is very clear how powerful this formation is. Not to mention Su Junming, even the powerful Golden Immortal could not break it in a short time. Wait a minute, there are still 2 days left anyway. If the time is up and the people from Chongshan Academy still don't show up, then they will be the ones who are embarrassed in front of everyone. It will save us the trouble of taking action then. This competition was originally intended to damage the reputation of Chongshan Academy and maintain the Imei sect's position as the protagonist of the great catastrophe in the minds of practitioners in the spiritual world. If you can defeat others without fighting, that would be the best. In the anxious waiting, the day passed slowly. All the monks present had been in seclusion for months, years, even decades, or hundreds of years. But now just one day feels so long to them. When the sun rises slowly from the east the next day, its golden red light spreads across the earth. The entire sky was still windy and light, without any fluctuations in spiritual energy. Looking at the azure, cloudless sky, with its mountains stretching all the way to Zongnan Mountain, many monks with hot tempers were already cursing. Damn Chongshan Academy, if you don't dare to come out to compete with swords, why should you agree? I have to come all the way from the East China Sea to get here. Isn't true monarch Chongshan the best cultivator in the world who claims to have suppressed the 3 holy monks Zun Shen, Tian Meng, and Bai Mei? Why are all his disciples so courageous? As the sun sets in the sky, those who have entered the fairyland also become anxious. Senior Li, aren't you friends with people from the Chongshan lineage? Why haven't they shown up yet? Is it really like what others said, that they are afraid? Lu Xun, the real person in Jianjiun who was wearing a blue Taoist robe, asked. Next to them, Master Tianke, Ancestor Xian Kong, and Bacon Taoist Gong Yehuang, who joined later, Xiaoyang Shenjun of Makai Palace on Lizu Island in the South China Sea, all turned their heads and looked over. Li Jingxiu's face still looked calm as before. It seems that he is not worried at all about whether Chongshan Academy can keep his appointment. Wait a minute, I think they will be here soon. Just as Lu Xun was about to speak, a strange sound suddenly came from him. Li Jingxiu had a smile on his face. Coming. Not only him, but those with high cultivation levels also discovered the visitor. In an instant, a sword roar came from far to near. Soon, everyone saw 2 astonishing sword lights, flying like lightning from the east. The speed is so fast that it seems like teleportation. One moment, everyone just heard the sound, and the next moment it was in front of them. After the sword roar that seemed to tear the world apart stopped, 2 young men wearing green robes were revealed, carrying sword cases on their backs. The one on the left is slightly taller and handsome, but has a slightly cold expression. The one on the right is wearing a jade crown, is younger, has red lips and white teeth, and is also a handsome young man. Being watched by thousands of monks, the 2 of them looked as usual, showing no signs of timidity. Anyone who sees it will praise it for how brave it is. After quickly scanning the surroundings, the young man with an indifferent expression looked at Jinship and bowed his hand. Zhuge Liuyun, the 3rd-generation direct descendant of Chongshan Academy, and his junior brother Peng Xian, paid a visit to Imei sect Miao Yi Jinren Chi's headmaster. Pang Xian also followed his senior brother and bowed down to salute. Is he Zhuge Liu Yun, the first disciple of the 3 generations of Chongshan Academy, the Tianlong Sword Master? It's him. It's rumored that this man has already become an Earth Immortal. Now it seems that it's true. That sword energy is too strong. Zhuge Liu Yun roamed the world of Shushan for half a century, killed or captured hundreds of demons and monsters, and became famous in the Central Plains. Qi Shuming stood out from the crowd. He was of the same generation as Zhuge Liu Yun, so of course he should also be regarded as a Taoist friend. Fellow Taoist Zhuge, where is the leader of your sect Chongshan? Why are you the only 2 brothers here? The headmaster said that the sword competition is a matter for our 3 generations of disciples, so he will not participate. Otherwise, you will lose. Besides, he is secretly doing something to bully the younger ones. Qi Shuming's brows instantly wrinkled. The true lord of Chongshan, Su Junming, was so famous that he did not dare to lie, so he said no more. Your master, Sword Master Yan Chixia, isn't here either. Ha ha. A long laugh came suddenly. Zun Shen, Tian Meng, Zhi Gong, Sha Shen Tongzi, Jimu Shenjun, Li Jingxiu and Xingxiu Old Monster all moved at the same time. With their spiritual awareness, they actually found no trace of the visitor. Come, isn't it too late? A stream of light that was so fast that even the consciousness could not detect it seemed to have broken through the limitations of space and came to the field in an instant. The sword light dissipated, and a tall swordsman with a big beard appeared in everyone's eyes, wearing a grey cloth robe, carrying a sword case on his back, with his hair tied in a bun. Disciple meets master. Zhuge Liu Yun and Pang Xian quickly bowed and saluted. Good disciple, get up quickly. After waving the 2 of them to stand up, Yan Xixia's eyes quickly swept across the surrounding mountains and mid-air. I didn't expect so many fellow Taoists to come today. I'm sorry to have you all wait for me at Chongshan Academy. True fairy. All those who have reached the immortal realm can clearly feel Yan Xixia's sharp sword energy that is vast and as deep as the abyss. That is definitely the aura that only monks who have advanced to the level of true immortal can have. Of course, Zun Shen, Tian Meng, Zhi Gong, Sha Shen Tongzi, Jimu Shenjun, Li Jingxiu, Xingxiu Old Monster and others who have advanced to the level of true immortals feel it more clearly. Is this person really just a second-generation disciple of Chongshan Academy? Zen Master Zhi Gong preached. Tianmeng nodded. This person's human name is the Bearded Sword Saint, and he is the 4th disciple of Su Junming, the headmaster of Chongshan Academy. It's just that according to rumors, he is only in the late stage of Earth Immortal, but for some reason he became the middle stage of True Immortal. Tianmen's tone was full of doubts. But Li Jingxiu looked at it and secretly said, sure enough. Zhuge Wolong advanced to the level of True Immortal, and Yan Chixia, who was stronger than him, was no exception. Moreover, he is still in the middle stage of True Immortal, and his cultivation level is stronger than his own. How about I also become a disciple of Chongshan? This thought came out of my heart unconsciously. But he soon laughed and shook his head. After all, he is also a powerful person who respects the Taoist ancestors. It is really embarrassing to join someone else's sect and be controlled and driven by others. Qi Shuming pays homage to Senior Yan. Since he considers himself a 3rd-generation disciple of Imei, Yan Chixia is his elder, and when guarding so many people, etiquette must be observed. You are welcome. Yan Chixia waved her right hand casually. After Qi Shuming nodded, his eyes moved downward. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 650. I wonder if the soul captured in the senior's left hand is my Imei abandoned disciple Den Yin. As soon as the statement came out, the whole place was in an uproar. The news that Den Yin, the son of the blood god, had committed a heinous crime hundreds of years ago and was beheaded by his senior brother Chinmay Genren spread throughout the spiritual world. I never thought that I would hear news about this devil here again. You mean him? Yan Chixia raised her left hand and grasped it with 5 fingers. A blood-red cloud trembled endlessly, as if it was struggling violently, but no matter how hard it struggled, it could not escape Yan Chixia's grasp. Exactly. Qi Shuming looked helpless. In fact, he absolutely did not want to name Den Yin's identity in front of everyone at this time. But when his mentor ascended to the throne, he was told by thousands of people that he must protect Master Deng's safety. You can seal it, but you can't kill it. Although he didn't understand why the master indulged Den Yin, the devil who brought shame to Imei, again and again. But as a disciple, he cannot go against his master's orders. It turns out that he is Den Yin, the blood god son of your Imei abandoned disciple. No wonder he is proficient in blood Dao Kung Fu. However, this person sucked the blood essence of hundreds of people in the Taihang Mountains, and I chased him all the way to the Black Wind Nest in the Xingzi Yuhei Ziogu Temple Mountain. Just caught him. You are guilty of so many crimes and deserve to be put to death, but I cannot give it to you. Senior, he is my abandoned disciple of Imei. Please be accommodating and leave him to Imei, Qi Shuming said quickly. Haha, since you said he was an abandoned disciple, it has nothing to do with you Imei. What fellow Taoist Yan said is true. Blood god son Den Yin caused countless crimes in the world of cultivation, and he should have been executed long ago as a warning to others. Since Master Chinmay is reluctant to kill him, let fellow Taoist Yan do it for him. Li Jingxiu said. Genren Li is right. Den Yin, the son of the blood god, has committed many sins and must not be let go. Kill him. Although Den Yin has been sealed by the Chinmay master for hundreds of years, there are many people in the cultivation world who have enemies with him. And no one wants to have such a demon who likes to suck human blood in the world of spiritual practice. Therefore, for a while everyone shouted and attacked in groups. Senior brother Qi, stop talking. Chongshan Academy has long been prepared to use Den Yin to damage our reputation in Imei. You must not be fooled, Zhu Mei said anxiously. Junior brother, stop interceding for Den Yin, otherwise our victory in today's sword show will be a mixed result. Ascetic Taochuo also sent a message. Qi Shuming sighed secretly in his heart. He didn't know how powerful it was. It was just his mentor's earnest teachings before his ascension that made it difficult for him to let go. Qi Shuming took a deep breath and gritted his teeth. Everything is at Senior Yan's disposal. The words fell and kept silent. Seeing him like this, Yan Chixia thought to herself, this Qi Shuming is really a decisive person. No wonder Chinmay master would choose him to be the head coach of Imei. Capturing Den Yin was what Su Junming told him via a message from thousands of miles away when he came to Zongnan Mountain. And he specifically directed him to go to the Black Wind Nest in Xingzi Yuhei Ziogu Temple Mountain. The purpose is to take advantage of the sword show to weaken Imei's 1,000-year reputation in front of everyone. Don't underestimate reputation, sometimes it is much more important than strength. Especially since Chinmay Genren has been slaying demons for thousands of years, his accumulated connections are too thick. If he doesn't weaken him by 1 or 2, even if he defeats Imei, he won't be truly respected. In this case, Pandeo takes action. With a casual slap, Den Yin's blood shadow spirit was collected into the red gourd around his waist. There is a sealing circle left by Su Junming on it. It is also an immortal weapon. Once you enter it, you will never come out again. Stomping her right foot, thick clouds flew up from her feet, carrying Yan Chixia into the air. Master Qi, isn't there a sword competition today? People from my Chongshan lineage are here, so let's compete. Qi Shuming twitched the corner of his mouth. All my Imei elites are here, but your Chongshan Academy has 2 or 3 big cats and kittens here, and they don't even slap you in the face like this. After taking a deep breath and suppressing his angry thoughts, he didn't ask anyone else at Chongshan Academy why they didn't come, otherwise it would only be more embarrassing. Senior Yan, I wonder which disciple of your sect will take part first in today's sword competition. Yan Chixia smiled faintly. Liu Yun, you go first. Disciple, obey. Zhuge Liu Yun activated his sword light and came into the air. Senior Yan, today there are 7 sword competitions in total. One person can only compete once. Senior, do you agree? Haha, it was you, Ime, who suggested the sword showdown. If you want to be more casual than you, we at Chongshan Academy will accompany you. Qi Shuming frowned slightly and slightly cupped his hands. Turned. Senior brother Tong, the first battle is very important to me, Ime, so I need you to take action. Wan Li Fi Hung Tong Yuankai nodded calmly. Carrying a long sword on his back, he got out of the golden ship where the Ime sect was located and flew forward. The two of them stood 100 feet apart. Ime is going to use Tianji's method of horse racing to win. Looking at Yuan Ting Yuji, Zhuge Wolong, who has a strong aura and is known as the first person in the 3 generations of Chongshan, and then look at Tong Yuankai, a flying hero in the middle stage of Yuan Shen, although he is named Luofu 7 Immortals. So everyone understood Ime's plan. Zhuge Wolong stood in mid-air, looking at Tong Yuankai opposite, and frowned. Fellow Taoist Tong, you are no match for me, so let's replace him. The reason why he said this was because he saw that Tong Yuankai had many merits and could not bear to embarrass himself in front of everyone. Morality lies, please forgive me for not obeying your orders. Zhuge Liu Yun nodded slightly. He said everything that needed to be said. Since he insisted on doing so, don't blame yourself for being rude. As for the plan of Tianji horse racing in Ime, my junior brothers and sisters are not easy to deal with. Please. Zhuge Liu Yun raised one palm and bowed. After Tong Yuankai followed him and saluted, the two of them took action at the same time. Swish, the extremely sharp sword energy roared into the sky like 2 giant dragons. Obviously, Zhuge Liu Yun's sword energy is much stronger than his opponent. Moreover, his many years of struggle have made him deeply understand the truth. No matter how weak the opponent seems, he must go all out. If he takes it lightly, he may be the unlucky one. Therefore, the Tianlong sword fell from the sky with violent sword energy, and rushed towards the opposite side like a mad cow. Tong Yuankai's expression was solemn. He knew that his strength was not as good as the opponent's, and head-on confrontation was not the answer, so he used the word vent in the Ime sword art's sword Qi Lingkong art. The mighty sword energy rotates rapidly, like a spring magnified countless times, facing the Tianlong sword energy. As soon as the two sides touched, Tong Yuankai's color changed instantly. He only felt that an extremely sharp sword energy cut his own sword energy in half in an instant. Without giving him any time to react, he was already in front of him. He looked at the silver-white flying sword that was only half a foot away from his throat. Tong Yuankai looked pale. If now it was not a sword duel between the two factions, but a real battle of skills, he would already be dead. The gap is too big. Ling Hun shook his head. Yuxiu next to him nodded in agreement, and all the laughter and curses he used to have turned into solemnity at this time. What's wrong with you? Yuxiu sighed and replied, actually, Tong Yuankai's strength is not bad, especially his escape technique is excellent. Coupled with the foundation behind him, ordinary Earth immortals may not be able to defeat him. It's just that Zhuge Liu Yun is too strong, and his swordsmanship is extremely pure. With his cultivation in the middle stage of Earth Immortal, even if you and I take action, we may not be able to defeat him. Yuxiu is upright and does not feel that it is a shame to be inferior to others in terms of strength. Ling Hun nodded. I hope this fight will not leave Tong Yuankai with inner demons, otherwise it would be a pity. Yi Xiu nodded and said, among the dozen or so disciples of the third generation of Ime, the only ones who have a bad temper with me are the drunkard, the bearded man, and him. Those two dwarfs and Qi Shuming are full of tricks and are really annoying. Ling Hun smiled and didn't say much. It's good to be above board, but as the leader of a faction, he has no ingenuity and is absolutely unqualified. The key is whether there are bottom lines and principles. Relatively speaking, the reason why Qi Shuming was valued by Master Chen Mei and promoted to the position of head of Ime was because he not only lacked strength, but also had flexible wrists and brains. Xianzhenzi and ascetic Tutu were both inferior to him in this respect. Excuse me. Zhuge Liuyun made a hook with his sword, and returned the Tianlong sword into its sheath. After Tong Yuankai saluted, he returned to the golden boat. Senior brother, Tong Yuankai is incompetent, please punish him. Qi Shuming smiled and helped Tong Yuankai up with both hands. Zhuge Liuyun is known as the #1 disciple of the 3 generations of Chongshan. Even if I take action, I may not be able to defeat him. Junior brother, don't worry about it. You can rest later. No one blamed Tong Yuankai, because no one thought he could win, so no one was surprised by the current result. Nodding, Tong Yuankai walked to the back and sat down cross-legged with a disappointed expression. Although he knows that his chances of winning are very small, anyone who loses will feel uncomfortable. ZY Taoist, bearded immortal Li Yuanhua, and Tong Yuankai were considered a small group among the many third-generation disciples in Ime, so they naturally rushed over to comfort them. Qi Shuming glanced at Pang Xian opposite. As an opponent, he knew every direct disciple of Chongshan Academy. As Yan Xixia's junior disciple, Pang Xian has practiced with him for more than half a century, and has already reached the level of late Yuan Shen. He has been doing chivalry in Kilo for many years. Although he is a swordsman, he is also good at fire techniques. Therefore, he is called the Tianxian Divine Lord. Against him, unless you have entered the fairyland, there is no guarantee of victory. After looking around at many of his classmates, he finally settled on Bai Gai. Senior brother Bai, I'll worry about you for this battle. Zui Yunsu Bai Gai had been practicing at the peak of Yuan Shen for many years. Later, after going into seclusion, he successfully overcame the tribulation and became an earth immortal. Recently, Qi Shuming opened the Ime Ningbai cliff in order to have a sword duel with Chongshan Academy and took out many elixirs and treasures. Zui Yunsu Bai Gai has taken a step further in cultivation, and his strength has also improved a lot. He is a master among the 3 generations of Ime disciples. Looking at Pang Xian opposite, Bai Gai smiled and nodded. This battle is all on me. After saying that, he took a step forward, suddenly emerged from the light, and came to the field like lightning. Fellow Taoist Pang, Mr. Bai is here to teach you the 9 swords of Chongshan. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 651. Seeing Bai Gai coming out of the crowd, Yan Chixia smiled faintly and stopped Pang Xian, who was about to go out. You have already achieved the fairyland. My disciple is no more than a soul, so it is not exciting enough in comparison. With a wave of his hand, a sky-blue divine gate instantly appeared in mid-air. Although it is only a projection, as the Azure Divine Sect continues to grow stronger in Su Junming's hands, the Divine Sect summoned by Yan Chixia and other direct disciples has become closer to reality. Boom, the stone door opened, and a beautiful woman wearing a black dress and a cold face walked out. After quickly glancing around, the woman bowed. Disciple Denbago, please see Uncle Yan. After smiling and nodding, Yan Chixia turned her eyes. Bai Gai, my nephew has just broken through to the earthly immortal realm not long ago, and his cultivation level is comparable to yours. If I compete with you, I won't be bullying you. A hint of darkness flashed in Bai Gai's eyes. Pang Xian, who was holding the handle in his hand, turned into a hard bone. Of course, he was not in a good mood. Careless. Qi Shuming secretly regretted that he should have let Pang Xian go first. Bai Gai took a deep breath. Fellow Taoist Deng, please. Now that it has become a fait accompli and unable to repent under the spotlight, Bai Gai can only accept it. Moreover, the other party is Deng Baguo. It's not like she has never dealt with her in the past hundreds of years, so she is not his opponent at all. Although it is certain that the opponent's strength will definitely improve dramatically after joining Kongshan's sect, but the time is too short and there may not be earth-shaking changes. Bai Gai has confidence in himself when dealing with her. Deng Baguo flew to the end. She has long been famous among the two elders of Songshan. I just didn't expect that I would have to face this old man chasing Yunsu today. Forget it, consider it a test of my decades of hard training under my mentor. Take a deep breath and calm your mind. Please. After the two of them bowed their heads, their magic power started to rise at the same time. The sword light on Bai Gai's body was a great victory, while the infinite cold light on Deng Baguo's body bloomed. A sword light, as bright as the sun and moon, rose into the sky. A blue-white cold light, like a rainbow stretching across the sky, is gorgeous and dangerous. As soon as the two sides touched, the sword energy disappeared, but the cold light remained. Bai Gai was not surprised by this, and flew away as he escaped from the light. Ever since Chongshan Academy emerged as a rival, Yimei has been constantly collecting any information about the opponent. Su Wang's lineage is naturally no exception. The reputation of the I-Soul Divine Light became known to everyone as their master and apprentice killed countless demons and evil disciples in the West. Therefore, Bai Gai did not dare to use the magical weapon from the beginning, fearing that the other party's I-Soul Divine Light would brush it away. But with just the sword light, it was obvious that he couldn't stop Deng Baguo's I-Soul Light. In particular, her I-Soul Divine Light was made using innate spiritual objects and 10,000-year-old ice and snow elites. Its power is even more powerful than the two senior sisters Fu Qingfeng and Fu Yueqi, and second only to Su Huang, who was born with the body of an ice phoenix. Bai Gai, who was controlling the sword light, was like a giant, flying up and down around Deng Baguo. The extremely sharp sword light fell like rain. Deng Baguo's body didn't move, and the Bingso divine light swept away, and all the sword light disappeared instantly. Looking at Bai Gai who was flying so fast, he frowned slightly. Although his sword was no threat to him, his speed was indeed a problem. His I-Soul Divine Light is the most powerful when condensed into one. If it is scattered, it will not be easy to defeat the enemy. That's fine. With a thought in his heart, the spiritual light on his body surged, and the divine light of I-Soul instantly transformed into Deng Baguo. Second Soul. Among the people watching the battle, there were many masters from the Earth Fairy realm and above, with sharp vision and rich experience, and they quickly recognized Deng Baguo's method. However, this is not the second soul, but the three-corpse soul that Su Junming comprehended through the bronze mirror and comprehended many secret techniques of avatars, combined with his own seven-soul Dharma body and the way of the soul. In order to prevent the soul from having any shortcomings to the greatest extent, so that it cannot survive the calamity of the devil's heart. Only the immortal queen of the three corpses can cultivate the three corpses' soul. Deng Baguo had the I-Soul light that was cultivated from an innate spiritual creature. She broke into the Earth Fairy Queen and quickly became her first incarnation of the soul. Today is the first time I have used it. As soon as the I-Soul body came out, it turned into the I-Soul Divine Light and flew towards Bai Gai. Deng Baguo's hands formed sword fingers, and a bright sword light flew out of her body. It was Su Junming who gave her the treasure Fi Hung sword when she became the earthly immortal queen. This is a fairy sword at the level of a middle-grade fairy weapon. At the same time, a long yellow needle is also hidden in the sleeve. The powerful golden sword light slashed towards Bai Gai. You know, before becoming a disciple of Chongshan, She practiced swordsmanship. Later, she switched to the way of ice. Because of the blessing of the bronze mirror on her understanding, she did not give up the way of swordsmanship and practiced hard without falling. This is also the reason why Su Junming gave her the flying rainbow sword. The real body and the Dharma body merged, and Bai Gai instantly felt the pressure increase greatly. What's more important is that the space where he can fly has been compressed by half. Boom! There was a huge earthquake, and the golden and white sword energy seemed like two angry dragons biting and fighting each other, turning into flowing fire all over the sky. There have been dozens of sword energy collisions like this. But Bai Gai becomes more and more difficult to resist, and Denbago's magic power is much stronger than he imagined. Moreover, the second soul behind him was very different from the second soul he expected. Generally speaking, the strength of the second soul will be far inferior to that of the main body, and it can only be used to assist or escape. But Denbago's difference is that her strength is almost equal to that of the original deity, and the mana of both parties has not decreased at all due to separation. This was simply beyond his imagination. Flying Phoenix sword style. A scolding sound rang in his ears. Not good. Bai Gai's heart thumped and he was about to run away. The vast sword light was like a phoenix spreading its wings and slashing down overwhelmingly. Hanyu sword. Bai Gai raised his hand, and a silver-white flying sword bloomed with infinite brilliance. The sword energy soared into the sky, blocking the flying golden sword energy. Soon, the cold breath flew over instantly. Although Bai Gai had long been secretly on guard, the golden sword light blocked all his paths. He reluctantly used the escape light to avoid the front, but his natal Hanyu sword was instantly brushed away. Without the flying sword, the power of Bai Gai's sword energy instantly dropped a lot. Fortunately, as one of the two elders of Songshan, Qi Shuming also benefited a lot from opening Ningbai Cliff this time. There are also spare fairy swords. But in terms of power and familiarity, it was not as good as the Hanyu sword that had been with him for hundreds of years. The two sides fought hundreds of moves, but Bai Gai was at his wit's end and was hit hard on the back by the Bingso divine light. Wow, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and his face instantly turned pale. This is not the first time he has been beaten. Looking at her opponent with blood on his chest and a determined look on his face, Denbago also admired his persistence and perseverance. Stopping the sword light and pressing the Ice Soul divine light, Yeokan looked at Bai Gai with disheveled temples and flying white hair. Fellow Taoist Bai, you have lost this battle. There is no point in continuing the fight. Go down. Of course Bai Gai knew that he had lost, but if he lost, he would not lose. Even if he was seriously injured, he still had to fight off Imei's momentum. To calm down the turbulent mana in his heart, Bai Gai gritted his teeth. I can still fight, come again. He activated his sword light and flew straight towards Denbago with determination in his eyes. I sighed secretly in my heart and glanced at the incarnation of Bingso. The latter took a step forward, and the blue-white divine light around him suddenly surged. Infinite cold air, crazily squeezing around. You must know that the essence of the Ice Soul divine light is a world completely filled with ice aura. Denbago's Ice Soul divine light was made from the innate spiritual substance Snow Soul Pearl. If it was completely transformed, it would be millions of miles away. Seeing the bluish-white aura that was like a giant mountain, constantly expanding and crushing crazily, Bai Gai, who was rushing forward, had his thoughts on both sides, and could only retreat. But there's still time there. He was instantly overwhelmed by the blue and white spiritual light. In an instant, an extremely cold air enveloped the limbs and bones, and at the same time a powerful suppressing force was suppressed instantly. His mana, body, and spirit were all sealed. Before he could clearly see the world of ice and snow in front of him, the light flashed and returned to the top of Tianzu Peak of Zhongnan Mountain. But there were several more blue-white, rope-like beams of light on his body. The mana and soul were still the same as before, with no reaction at all. Denbago waved her hand, and the I Soul Divine Light and the 3 corpse clones disappeared into her body. Fellow Taoist, bye, you lose. Bye guy, I let out a long sigh. If he persists at this time, he is acting like a rogue and will only bring shame to Ime. Fellow Taoist, Den is superior. Bye surrenders. Farewell. After saying this, he flew towards the Ime golden ship. Senior brother leader, please forgive me, I lost this battle. Bye guy, I said in shame. Seeing Bai Gai who was pale, breathless, and with blood on his chest, although Qi Shuming felt regretful, he also knew that the other party had tried his best. If he continues to blame, it will only appear that he, the leader, is mean and unkind. Junior brother Bai, please rise. Victory or defeat is a common matter for military officers, so don't take it to heart. White Dwarf, everyone has seen that you have tried your best. Zhu Mei quickly comforted her old friend. Thank you, senior brother, for your kindness. After that, with Zhu Mei's help, he walked to the back to rest. Junior brother, we have lost 2 formations in a row. We must not lose the 3rd formation, otherwise we will be in trouble, ascetic Tuchuo said worriedly. Qi Shuming nodded. Ime proposed only 7 games because they only had 6 or 7 capable experts. But there are more people in Chongshan than them. If it's 9 games or more, they will definitely lose. But now, they have lost 2 of the 7 games. If they lose the next game, they will be forced into a desperate situation. Too dangerous. If the prediction is correct, Pang Xian will appear next. When the time comes, I'll trouble you, senior sister, to take action. Qi Shuming turned his head and said to the dragon slayer Tai Shengziu. The latter nodded. Put it on Lao Ni. For a junior who has not yet become an immortal, it is not easy to capture him. Uncle, my disciple is lucky to have lived up to his command. Denbago returned to the main formation. Haha, the 5th junior sister has taught a good apprentice, not bad. Thank you for the compliment, master. I will take my leave now. Why, don't you stay and take a look? Denbago shook her head.